create our own toys, you know. So that was quite a nice time. And we lived the first couple of years first with the grandparents, with the parents of my father, and then with the parents of my mother. And we had a family, you know, we have been safe there. So my first, my sister, I'm the eldest of three from my mother, and I have two half sisters from two other women as well. So not half sister, half sibling, so a half brother who is 7 years younger than me, and I have a half sister. She is born 25 years younger than me. Okay, so that was my point. Till I was 9 years old, my life was quite normal. We moved 3 times, that was okay. But the major move was when I was 9, and we moved 200 kilometers away from my home, from my grandparents, from my friends, and everything like that. So, and that was the first switch, the first adaptation I had to do. Another school, other people around me, new friends to build, but I was pretty happy to do so. And then I had, when I was 11 years old, I was in high school, and it was asked, do we want to have extra language? Do we want to learn an extra language? And I said, I want, it was French. And I said, yeah, me. And then the teacher asked, yeah, but you are in English, you have a 5, you are really bad in English. And I said, doesn't matter, I want to learn French. And it was because that was, I could go into an exchange with a French family and with a girl in my age in France. So I said I want to, and I got it. So when I was 11 years old, I had all my stuff together, and I said, I'm going to France for 4 weeks to, into another family. And that was quite interesting, because that was a big family. The big family, they had 3 boys, and then my French girlfriend, and the 3 boys, they had 3 boys from Germany as well in this exchange, what we had. So we have been 8 children over 4 weeks over Easter. And I felt so at home, because what happened at my place was that my parents started to have fights, and my youngest brother was born when I was 9, but my half brother was born when I was 7. So it was tension in the family, and I had the feeling it's not really a glue there, you know. So, and I always tried to fix everyone and want to help everyone to get better and to be good. But then in France, that was great, 4 weeks. And I did that quite every year for 4 years. That was my home, that was my being, my whole being was there. And French, I always had the best number. I had a 1 in French and a 5 in English. So that was a funny thing. Anyway, English got better after I spoke better French. I spoke better English as well, but not much. Then when I was 13, so that was my rock a little bit. When I was 13, my father left us. And as I was the oldest, my mom was not easy for her to cope with the little brother who was 5 and my sister who was 11 and myself. So I tried to help everyone and to fix everything. And of course, I couldn't do that. So there was a lot of trouble there. We had to adapt. And so when I left high school, I decided I'm going to France for half a year. That's what I did. And I was working in Strasbourg in a restaurant. And I was there for 6 months until my father said, hey, you need to have a profession. You need to do something. And then said, okay. Then I said, okay, I'm going for hospitality. I want to learn everything about hospitality. And that gave me the opportunity to just work on Christmas days and Easter days, and any time when I would have to choose where to go, either to father or mother or wheresoever. I could say, no, I have absolutely no time, I have to work. So that was quite an escape for me. And from that time on, I lived on my own. So I was on my own. And then 2 years later, after I started with hospitality, when I lived first there, but then I had my own little flat and I was there, I was working. Yeah, so that was my own responsibility. Till today, that's my biggest gift. I feel that I'm able to look after myself. I don't like to be dependent on anything. I'm a totally free spirit, independent, looking after myself and feeling responsibility for myself and for my actions as well. So because my father left, I had quite a difficult a connection, a difficult relationship with partners. So that was a little bit challenging for me, and I was always rather looking for a father than perhaps for a partner, you know. So there have been difficulties there. And when I was 24, I met my first husband, and that was nice. He was a very nice man and everything was good. And I had the feeling I found my home in that time. But then as my inner stability wasn't there and the relationship with my father wasn't cleared and healed yet, so I made a big mistake and fell in love with someone else. But then I started to go out of hospitality. First, I was secretary. I was studying at night. During the day, I was working. At night, I was working. And when I had free time, I studied secretary for 1 year with a certificate I got at the end. And when I left my husband, I got into computer, into IT. And then I was working there. I was quite talented to do so. And then I thought, okay, I'm working during the day with working on the computer, and at night I study IT. What I did, so I studied IT at night again, because I really have a curious mind. I want to know, I want to learn, I want to go to the depths of everything, I could say. So then I was in IT. I moved from Freiburg, where I lived, to Stuttgart. That was another 200 kilometers away. So I moved again. Actually moving, I think I moved over 50 to 60 times in my whole life, by the way. So that was started already there. So then I was studying IT, and then and then he said he doesn't want to continue the relationship. So then I met someone else after I felt in a real deep hole, and that hole was quite bad because it numbed me a lot. I was numb. I didn't feel much. So I just was alive. I had 50 kilograms. I was anorexic, and I thought I'm overweight, even though I was totally slim. Became bulimic as well in those times. And but he had a business as well, and he was planning kitchens. So I learned all about that. So now I had already another profession. So I was hospitality professional. I was secretary with certificate. I had an IT certificate, and now I became a kitchen planner. So, and then someone else asked me to come to his company with computer selling and printers and everything like that, because I recognized I was so numb, that was not the right partner for me at all. So I left, was on my own, was then working in that company, and I thought, oh, okay, I have to work with people around me. I have responsibility for people. So now at night, I study psychology. And then I studied psychology for 2 years at night. And during the day, I was working with my team, with, selling computers, giving online support when people stuck with their new computer, things like that. Was working with IBM as well. So it was quite interesting times. Until I felt in love again. So, and then I followed him for another 2 years, couldn't keep that up. My relationship with my father still not healed. So, and after another 2 years, I came to the company of my father. I lived, and then I worked in the company of my father and his wife, his second wife. And that was a disaster. I tried to fix my father while I was his secretary, and his wife and myself, we have been really, difficult to work together. And at one stage, I had to leave, and I left. And that was then when I met my second husband again. So I knew him already for a long time, but then we turned that into a relationship. And I left, and because I had to leave the job with my father, then I had to look, what is it what I want to do? And I had no idea where to go and what to do. And then I found a little announcement in a little paper, not a big newspaper, it was just a little local paper, and it said spiritual guidance for finding a place to work. That tiny, and I thought, okay, I can't lose anything. I went there. It was a single man, and he said, oh, we know each other from another life in Russia. And I'm training Russian people at the moment in a special school. And I think you can do that. And I said, I can't teach Russians. I don't speak Russian. And social living was the topic. I said, oh my God, I have no idea what I should tell him. But he said, yes, go. And then, okay, I went there. I said, can't lose anything. And then I started my job there. That was the first time self-employed. And then the Russians didn't speak German much. I didn't speak Russian. So we had kind of a funny 4 hours together every day. And the wife from the boss who employed self-employed teachers, she said to me, don't you want to come with me to study naturopathy? And I said, naturopathy? I don't know. I'm IT, I'm hospitality, but naturopathy, I don't know. You know, all the bones and structure, if I can do that, I don't know. But she said, come along. It's at nighttime, it goes for 3 years, and you can quit anytime. And then I said, okay, I mean, since I'm adult, since I work, I always was working during the day and studying at night. So there was kind of a hole, and I said, okay, I start naturopathy. And then I studied naturopathy, was married the second time, loved it, turned then everything, left everything behind, healed in that time the relationship with my dad as well, with my father, and then my whole naturopathy life started. So in a short time, what I did.
Wow. And what are you doing today?
Well, I stayed with naturopathy, of course, because when you study naturopathy, there are so many courses you can study. And I studied everything I could because I really wanted to know what is healing, what is that all about. And at the same time, when I was 30, I was connected to Silver Mind Control. And in Silver Mind Control, I took the course that went for 4 days. And in the 4 days, we had 300 people in the room. And after the 4th day, everyone had a paper, and we wrote a name of someone on the paper, just a name and the place where they live. And all the 300 people in the room have been able tune into the energy field of this person they didn't know, and could say something about it. So I was pretty much into that, and I knew there is more. There's spirituality as well. There's not only this physical body, but there is more to our life. So, and when I studied naturopathy and I started to work, I met a homeopath, and she was a spiritual medium, and she offered a training mediumship. And I started to do that. I started to work with her. We have been then cancer specialists, so we wrote the book together, process-orientated cancer therapy. So it was the whole creative part, but as well the spiritual part. And I was sitting for 10 years in a spiritual circle where we learned everything about healing, distance healing, mediumship, talking to spirit, channeling spirits when it is important. We don't do that just for fun. We do that when there is a spirit on the other side who really wants to give a message to someone, to help this person to feel calm, to feel without fear, and especially to have not any kind of fear of death. So this was my mediumship training. And during that time, naturopathy, I went in that direction, and my ex-husband went into investment. So there was a big gap. And I tried for many years to heal that relationship, but that didn't work. And then I was invited to Australia, to come to Australia to give a lecture about cancer. I was there already MetaHealth master trainer, and to come to Australia, give a lecture working with negative ionizers. And I met my third husband. And this is why I live in Australia now. I work as a naturopath. I do most of the time, online right now, because COVID is not as easy. I use all my talents, all my skills. And last year I started with neurographic, as many of you know, because out of the blue, I found that my creative part in me wanted to play a role as well. And I left a little bit this normal naturopathy where it is all about supplements and all of that. This is not really healing. Healing starts from the inner spiritual being, and it goes then through the emotional body, through the mental body, into the 3 layers of the physical body. So healing only starts from the inside out. It can't start from the outside to the inside. Not in my world, and not with my clients. I do. And then, of course, with frequencies. So I work with frequencies. I work with neurographica. I start with the brain wave.
Neurographic painting to people, because not many know it. It's just a small group, and today we have people on Facebook. So if you can just show, maybe if you have anything around, to show what neurographic paintings are all about. You never know who wants to learn more.
Yeah, I mean, neurographica is amazing. I have some.
So I have learned from Christa, and she is just outstanding with neurographic paintings. It helps you to create new neurons and new pathways in the brain, and such a beautiful, gentle way of healing. And Christa, all to you.
Yeah, so that's, for example, that's a picture from a client where we worked with a client. So you see there are neural pathways, there are resources, there are goals to achieve. So we are just working with and that looks like pathways, neural pathways, and looks like cells and things like that. So yeah, it's quite colorful, and you can do a lot of things with it. Things like that. Like that.
Wow.
Think like that. or this one. So it's always a theme, you know, we have a theme and then we start drawing, and then because we are not thinking logically about it, we are using then just the drawing and the tip of a pen to bring what is inside of us onto the paper. And when we have it on the paper and we can recognize it and see it, then we are able to optimize it as well and to make a new pathway, and really to tell the brain on a really subconscious level uh, to achieve the goals and to heal whatever wants to be healed. So yeah, it's my it's my absolute joy and to work with my clients with neurographic. You see, there's a lot.
Wow, quite a bit. So, is it okay if I ask you a few questions?
Yeah, sure.
We were discussing yesterday, and you took me back to the time of your grandparents and the World War II. What, according to you, has that World War II left any impact on you or your sisters and brothers or anybody? Because it was something where your ancestors were actively present. Any insights on that?
Well, we have been poor. We didn't have much, you see. So there was meat once a week, which was mince. We called it false rabbit. And during the week, we had not much. My grandmother, she tried to make something out of little. There was not much money. There was not much what we had, and we didn't have any toys. So when I compare that from those times where I lived then by now, when I see children today, then I can see I was a much happier child and we had much higher values. We have been closer together. It was not this fast. It was we got something and we put a high value on it for a very, very long time. And I would say, I mean, you see, Germany and these times, everyone was pointing the finger on Germany, how that could happen in World War II, all the nasty stuff. And so I think in Germany we had always the longing to be good and to be nice and to help and to do something good, because you can see now through the corona that the crowd is caught in a system. When the system forces something, we as people, we are caught up in that, and if we try to stand up for it, we have restrictions. We get people put or the system puts us in prison, things like that. So it's kind of we didn't learn worldwide from what happened in Germany. So that's what I got because of the values we had, and I hold values high in my life because I was raised there. So that's what I brought with me. Of course, there are other things as well, to be very you know, to hold everything together, nothing to throw away, things like that. That's a part of that time as well, because you never know if there is a bad time coming again, and I'm not sure if that's just in front of us.
That's so beautifully said, because I've always believed that, and I know you'd believe that too, that past will always has an impact on us. You also spoke about your grandfather being, from your father's side, if I'm not mistaken, being in prison.
From my mother's side, the
yeah.
father from my mother was in prison for 9 years in Russia, and the father from my father, he died in war, was 28 when my father was 5. Then he was killed in World War II. So I don't know my grandfather from my father's side.
Okay, thank you so much. You did spend some time with your grandfather from your mom's side who was in the prison. Um, Today, when Christa looks back at him, and I know you have very fond memories, is there anything that you would like to highlight where his life is concerned? Because I always believe that our ancestors are standing behind us. And when we are representing you, I'm not just representing you, it would not be fair to not represent him. So if you have any stories that you could tell us, because people today don't know, we think that, and somewhere we think till the corona happened, we've taken a lot for granted. And I'm sure till it happens in our life, eventualities, we take a lot for granted. So if you can throw some light on that, thank you.
Well, my grandfather, he was running a business. He was a painter, you know, he was going with his little, I didn't look that up actually, you know, the colors and everything he had in the little Leiterwagen. Anja, what does Leiterwagen is in English? Yeah, look it up. So anyway, he was going from house to house to paint inside, outside, the wallpapers, and everyone was quite humble. I think that's what I got from my grandparents and still from my parents as well. This humbleness, this, yeah, perhaps even sometimes shy, and not to make many words, but act more. That's what I loved the most of my grandfather. He was quite a humorous person, a sneaky humor he had, you know, so a little bit from the back to the front. So came through, shined through. And I loved to walk on his feet. I was standing as a child on his feet, and he was walking through the whole place and living room with me. So I remember that it was a pure love inside of these people, grateful, yeah, with a lot of gratitude that the war was over and they have been alive. I think that was really important as well for me. From my father's side, I got this fighting a little bit. My grandmother was on her own because her husband died, so she had to look after her son, even though then she married, got another 2 children, but she was working her whole life, and she was a little bit driven by being successful and be seen, things like that. So it was quite a different area. But that's what I remember as well, and I didn't tell you yesterday. The mother from my grandfather, from my mom, she lived with us. She was a beautiful woman. She was, I would say she was a healer. She had a little book where she knew everything about herbs. She was scratching her skin once a month to get the toxins out of the blood. She fed us with onions. She cut onions in very, very fine little things, put a little bit vinegar on it, which is sulfur. Yeah, so every night we had a little bit of this onion. She took the shoes from our feet and put every night paper in newspaper in the shoe to dry the shoe, to keep the shoes alive, even though in those days the shoes was a real material, not plastic like we have today. So that was interesting. That was she, and she knew everything. She was, when I couldn't go to the loo as a child, I was sick. I had a bladder infection when I was 2. My grandmother, she was sitting in front of me, and I remember that well. She always said, so that I could, do you know, as a little girl. Yeah, she was a healer. She was a beautiful woman. And I know that she's with me sometimes. I know that my grandparents are coming around the corner looking after me sometimes. My father is there sometimes. I know when he's there. So yeah, the spiritual world is with us all the time. They don't bother us. They are not sitting in our neck all the time. But when we ask them to be there, then they are there, and we can ask questions and they give us support.
Absolutely. And when yesterday you were talking about your dad doing decoration and your mom being the marketer and your dad being also very interested in cakes and breads and the smell of bread. And I was just very fascinated that you were doing neurographic paintings now and bringing delicacy and beautiful stuff into our life. And you were also very good at marketing. So you had two sides of both of them working together in complete synchronicity with you. And so how do you feel when you look back and look at all that and how what's the feeling like there?
My life was, I have many lives, as you know. I have many professions. I had many partners, married the third time. I was moving over 50 times from one place to another, according to the job or to the partner or to whatever happened. That what is important for me, and what I learned is resilience. You know, whatever situation in life is happening, there is always a solution. We have a lot of support. We have a lot of connection with the spiritual world. The moment we start to have trust in life is when nothing can happen. Every single person has its journey, and every single person wants to experience something in life. It's a very individual life path we all have. And that what is important is, you know, at the end of the life, when we can share what did we experience, what was the good thing, what was the bad thing, where did we feel stuck, how did we got out of the stuck situation, what have we done to do so. So perhaps I share that little part of me that changed my whole life in working with cancer clients, because I got that on my own. I had a strong relationship with two people, and from one to the other day, I felt it coming, but not quite. And I got an email, and I knew the relationship with both of them is over. And that hit me a lot. It really hit me to the depths of my being. I felt exactly the Udine. I felt the trauma that happened in that moment. I had to lie on the floor, feet up. My autonomic nervous system took over in fight and flight. And I had a little logical part inside of me that knew where I was at. I was already master trainer from German New Medicine. MetaHealth is the same. And I knew already what happened to me. So, and then I was using meditation every day to get in touch with my real me, with spirit, with God, call it whatever you want to do. I was sitting on my cushion every single day because I knew this what has fear and this is what is hurt is not me. That who I am is holy and healed and perfect and unconditional love. And after 10 days, after I was sitting several times a day, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 times a day, sitting and meditating for 10 minutes, I one morning got up, had a reunion with myself, and I was in peace. So that is a part of me that is always with me. My spirit is with me, my resilience is with me, my humbleness is with me. And all of that is something that I want to pass on as a teacher to people around me, and to give them, to share the strengths and the resilience I have, so that they can get in touch with their own creativity and resilience. So that the whole life I had with all the time to adapt to a lot of different situations, that made a real shining diamond I'm thinking every single person is a real shiny diamond, but it needs life experiences to make it shine, to bring it up, to make it visible. And I see myself as a guide for these transformational processes. Yeah.
Absolutely. You are absolutely a guide, and I can vouch for it, and I can absolutely look at it. I did ask you yesterday another question that's still burning in my head, and I must definitely allow people to hear it because you answered it so beautifully yesterday. So, Christa, you said you've been from one relationship to another, and so many relationships, so many different professions, so many different changes, and that weaved resilience in you. So what, according to you, is love, and what is the basis of any relationship? And when should you know, I'm asking another question in it, that that's done, you can't stay here anymore? Because people in my country stay back in relationship even when they're not happy. Because you said something very, very striking yesterday. You were searching for yourself and happiness. And if you can put it in your words, it would be so beautiful. What is love? What are the bases of a relationship? And how did you kind of get to find yourself and that happiness? Thank you.
I'm not sure if I find the same words like yesterday, Anu, because it's coming through. But relationships, in my point of view, is that we have empty cups. So there is a needy man and there's a needy woman, and then they are attracted to someone, and the attraction is actually what they think is love. But this is no love. This is neediness and expectation. So from normal relationships, okay? So, and then two empty cups are coming together, and the two empty cups try now to make the other empty cup happy, which doesn't work, because if someone is empty, there is nothing that can be shared. Yeah, what can be shared is emptiness and neediness and expectation, and other people, the partner's responsibility for my happiness. So that was never what I wanted. I was working in my relationships. I really was working in my relationships to find a way that I am full and the other person is full, and we can share our fullness. And you see, I never had fear. So I tried to communicate it. But when I felt there is the moment of there is no more point where we can find together, I left. I know it was sometimes difficult for me. It hurts when you are together for a while. It was difficult for someone else, of course, as well. But at the same time, we have to see, when we learned something and we did everything what we could in our possibility, and it's done, it's finished, then it is good that it's finished, and that gives me the ability to go to the next level, and gives the partner the ability to go to the next level as well. To stick together sometimes holds us both together. And I always knew what kind of partner I wanted. I had a picture. I knew this is what I want. I want someone who is full in that and full in that and full in that. But I found finally in my husband now. He is a full cup. He's not needy. He doesn't need me to be happy. And I'm a full cup. I don't need him to make me happy. I'm happy. I'm happy inside out. I have my resilience, I have my connections, I know who I am, and it's the same for my husband. And what I love about unconditional love is to love the imperfection. So I told you the story yesterday. So my husband has a funny walk. I just love how he walks. This is not like a model on stage. He walks his way. And then this unconditional love is coming inside of me. It starts inside, in my heart, in my tummy. And this is like a goosebump in the outside. It's a goosebump inside of me where I deeply feel the essence of him and myself and life and love. And that's what it is for me. Unconditional love, to love the imperfection and not the perfection. You know, a perfect thing is boring. A perfect thing is not this individual identity, is not this personality, is not this oh wow, this is your creative expression of yourself. Not saying that I'm 100% perfectly content with myself all the time. I have to adapt as well, you know. Menopause brings putting weight on and stuff like that, and I wasn't used to that, and I have to adapt to that as well. But my deepest goal is a full cup, and to share and to be in that energy of essence and goddess and love, and experience this life as a loving being.
Wow. So the last question that goes for you is, you've done a lot of mediumship, and is it that, and you spoke about spirits, and you spoke about, and like, you know, using it for at the time when it's required, not for fun. Did you have any special experiences during that time? What's your view about God, universe? How do you look at that? How do you look at that? Because you spoke about a lot of spirituality, and you know, the best thing about you, you never got stuck in anything. And that's something admirable. You never got stuck in anything. How did you manage that?
I just moved on, you see. I can say there is not much fear inside of me to move on. So my personal life's work is innovation. And innovation requires, and transformation, and that requires to move on. I can't stay stuck. So this is a part of my blueprint. That's a part of my life's work, what we can see in human design or in gene keys, where we see life's path, we see life's purpose, we see what we have to learn. For example, I had to learn patience. That's not my deepest thing I brought with me, so I have to learn that. So, and it is already as a frequency, as an energy inside of us. So I always moved on. I didn't question. I never was stuck in my mind what could be, what if, and that wasn't me. I always saw opportunities and possibilities the moment I was looking for it, the moment I was open for it. That's my personality, inherited, I would say. It's part of me. Yeah, I didn't have to learn that. I just did it. So my take on God is, for me, that is consciousness as a whole. So for me, consciousness is, for example, the room I'm in. The room is the consciousness, is the stillness, is the awareness, is the observer. And consciousness focuses itself simultaneously in different materialistic parts. So I am a dense focus of consciousness itself, and so are you, and so is someone else. And through our eyes, consciousness is looking into the world, and we have sensations and experiences through our nervous system. So for me, God or consciousness is everything. And we all appear in consciousness. Like I walk into the room, consciousness is aware I'm walking into the room, and I leave the room. So consciousness is, things are coming and leaving, like thoughts. It's coming and it's going. And only our ego structure, our mind, often tries to hold on things and to hold on the past as well. That's actually, I read it actually today. Satan means sat is be, to be, and an is no. So Satan actually means we are not here in the here and now, and we stuck with our thoughts in the past. And if we let go what we experienced, we enjoy what we experienced. We sometimes it was a sad experience, sometimes it was a highlight, things like that. But it's done. I only with my mind can keep that alive. So the moment I'm in the here and now, I'm pure presence, I'm pure unconditional love, I'm pure knowing, I'm pure, I'm pure consciousness.
Wow.
So that's my take on God and being and love.
You just explained it so beautifully. Anybody, any questions, guys? I'm actually tempted to go on, but I would restrain myself. I had to actually stop myself because I was going to ask you, where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? Because you've been like really jumping in your life so much. If you feel like, then you can answer it a little later. Dr. Manorama, Sheraz, Anya, any questions for Christa?
I owe an answer. It's called ladder car, which I have never heard before. Leitwagen.
Ladder. Oh, okay.
Ladder car. Yeah, I don't know. I've never heard that word before. Do you have the little book? Do you have the little book of your grandmother, grandmother?
Unfortunately not. And I even don't have the book with all the recipes of the cakes and bread from my dad.
Never mind, you're putting on weight, so it doesn't matter the cake now, but the book would have been nice with all the remedies.
Yeah.
I think it's inside her body and in her brain because it was so ingrained as a part of a ritual. So,
yeah.
do you see yourself, Christa, from 10 years from here, which is a very long, I mean, I know that you're somebody who stays in the present, but just hypothetically, where do you see yourself 10 years from here?
I can see myself traveling again a little bit more. I think perhaps another 1-2 years where I'm local where I am at the moment, but I could see myself as well being rather in Europe as well, traveling around. I see myself as well with a motorhome, giving lectures. I see myself as a teacher still. I see myself as a guide, a spiritual guide, together with my husband. He's such a spiritual human being as well. And of course, I want to do much more with neurographics. So I hope I can do the teacher as well. I really want to do that. I want to have so many people getting in touch with it, and it's just pure fun. So I see myself doing that more, and but from my inner being, I just see myself as guide for being in service and guide for humanity. Whoever needs me, I'm here.
Absolutely. It's so interesting that I see you getting even more beautiful, even more.
Thank you.
I'd love to learn mediumship from you whenever you're ready. That is something that that I got into years back, and then I just pulled out. I never went back to it. But it's something that completely intrigues me, how people can hold someone's just maybe a dress, a pin, a watch, and talk as if they knew the person.
Yeah.
It just fascinates me.
Yeah.
So wanted to ask you, would you ever teach that? Would you ever be ready to teach that?
Well, you see, this is not, that is actually practicing it. So to sit in a circle together and practicing, because our mind comes in with a lot of fantasy, and we need to separate fantasy from what we really sense and feel. I'll give you an example. At the weekend, I was on an expo and I made aura readings. And, you know, I do the aura reading. I use the Healy for the aura reading. And when I'm talking about the things that are coming up out of the blue, there is an extra picture coming to my awareness. So, for example, one girl, out of the blue, there was a cat sitting on her left shoulder. And this is a training. We then have to ask. So, and then I said, hey, I'm not sure, but I have the feeling that there is a cat with you. Did you have a cat? And she nearly cried because she said, yes, I lost my cat. I had a beautiful cat and she died. And I said, hey, this cat is really here. Talk to her. She wants to help you, to guide you. You know, and that was important in that given moment. Otherwise, this cat wouldn't have shown itself to me as present. Yeah. So with another girl, a Russian girl, I made a reading, and she was from Russia, and she felt so lost. She didn't know where her home was, and her father didn't want her, things like that. And then another picture came to my awareness, and that was a really strong, feminine, calm woman. And I asked her, and that was one of her grandmothers that was there. So you see, when spirit has the feeling to come, then it is visible for you. And what you have to do is to ask if that what you can sense and feel makes sense to the person. And for that, we sit once a week in a circle for 1 hour only. And then we have a lot of exercises we do, you know, the exercises to train that. And then you use it whenever it is needed. You don't use it, you know, to make sensational stuff out of it. That is used for some, but this is not real mediumship.
Absolutely.
Can we learn that in Zoom?
Well, I never did it in Zoom, but we could try. Yeah, sure.
I'm getting interested, and I'm sure others will be interested too. Yeah, we could.
For you to organize.
You are busy with the specialist for neurographic.
I'm like you in many ways, because she's also jumped between many professions, and she likes that. And I think there are many people here who are like that. I really thank you. I'm waiting still if anybody wants to ask a question. Guys, anybody on the Facebook or here, it's an opportunity. It's not. So, tick, tick 1, tick, tick 2.
Anu, Teji here. No questions. Thank you, Anu, for organizing this. Christa, wonderful to hear from you. And somewhere when I hear your journey, I kind of feel that my journey is unfolding. I've been in IT for last 30 years, and it has been a calling for me to make a shift. The shift is happening in me. So while I was listening to you, I somewhere feel that my journey is unfolding. So thank you so much for sharing. And it was very interesting to hear the aura reading that you mentioned. I just got goosebumps hearing what you mentioned. So would be glad to have that experience again. Thank you. Thank you, Anu, again.
Thank you.
Bringing wonderful speakers as always. Thank you, Anu.
Thank you. Dr. Manorama, Shiraz, any questions?
No questions.
Would you?
Thank you so much. Lovely speech. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so say
Thank you.
I am so grateful that you've unfolded your journey in front of us, because in people's journey are the real gems kept. When we don't know who people are, what are they all about, and then we sit down and say, oh, you can do it, I can't do it. It's because your tuning and the way you're looking at things is kind of different from how the other person is doing it. She's put life into everything that she touched. And she will continue to put life and create that amazing place of mystic, like you can call it. It's like fascinating to watch Christa do the neurographic and then do this and do that. And I'm just so amazed. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I will see you.
Thank you for having me.
I will meet you guys in the evening. We have another show in the evening at 9:30 with new speakers and their journey too. And people really inspire. Thank you so much. Bye-bye, guys.
Thank you all. Thank you, Anu. Take care. Lots of blessings. Bye for now.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Hug.
Big warm hug.